In this video, we're going to explain what UCI points are, how they're scored, how they're weighted in different races from the Tour de France, one-day classics and week-long stage races, and crucially, why they're important and why you need to know about them. Firstly, we're going to explain why riders want to score UCI points. When riders compete in a UCI ranked race, there's an opportunity to score UCI points. And these points contribute to the rankings of individual riders, trade teams, and also nations. Now, the points are important because riders and teams require a certain quota or number of these points in order to qualify for the top races. First, let's look at individual points. Now, points don't just win prizes. They're also a really useful tool for measuring a rider's worth and value. And this comes in handy when negotiating selection for races and also salaries and contracts. For 2019, there's going to be a number of changes, and the first thing you need to be aware of is that there's going to be a separate ranking for points scored in one-day races from the points scored in stage races. So this means that a rider like Chris Froome will probably have a really high stage race ranking and perhaps a lower ranking in one-day races. Whereas someone like Peter Sagan, well, you'd expect him to have a really high one-day ranking and a lower stage race ranking. And someone like Alejandro Valverde, well, he'll probably just have a really high ranking in both. And this is new for 2019. Previously, points scored in one-day and stage races were all combined. Team rankings are calculated by adding up the UCI points that are scored by the riders on that team. Now, these aren't just for bragging rights, they're important because teams need to score a certain number of UCI points in order to maintain a UCI World Tour license or, in some cases, qualify for one. And for the 2019 season, there are only 18 slots available for UCI World Tour teams. According to the UCI rules, World Tour licenses are awarded based on the following criteria: sporting, ethical, financial, administrative, and organisational criteria. Now, in order to obtain a World Tour license, each of these criteria must be met, with sporting referring to UCI points scored. Now, according to the rules, if more applicants for licenses than the maximum number of licenses available meet the ethical, financial, administrative, organisational criteria, then the Licence Commission will decide between them based on the number of UCI points they've scored. To avoid losing a World Tour licence, teams need to score points. And this brings us on to the next important change for 2019 that you need to be aware of. So in 2019, the UCI is looking to reduce the number of World Tour teams from 18, as it currently is, to 16 for 2020. And this means that the two teams that score the fewest UCI points this season are going to be relegated for 2020. In addition, another new rule for 2019 is that the two highest ranked teams in the division below the World Tour, formerly known as Pro Continental, will have the opportunity to race in UCI events such as the Tour de France and one-day classics. It's also got a new name. It was previously Pro Continental, but for 2019, it's going to be called the UCI Pro Series division. So UCI rankings by nation. Now, these are important because they determine how many riders a nation can field in certain events such as the World Championships or Olympics. And they also tell us which nation is the best. And at the moment, it's Great Britain. It's Spain.
Bothén beats GCN.
Oh my God.
The rankings are calculated by combining the top 8 riders from that nation. Now, in a race like the World Championships or the Olympics, nations ranked 1 to 10 may take to the start line with 8 riders. Nations ranked 11 to 20 may start with 6 riders. Nations ranked 20 to 30 may have 4 riders, and nations ranked 31 to 50 may enter 1 rider. Now, if a rider's home nation isn't in the top 50, but they have an individual rider with a top 200 ranking, then that individual may also start too. Points are scored by placing highly in UCI races, and the more prestigious the race, the more points on offer. This is reflected in a race like the Tour de France, as winning the overall in the Tour is the single biggest point score that a rider can get. You get 1,000 points, and points are also awarded all the way down to 60th place. This is the same in other UCI races too. Now for second place, you get 800 points, for third place, 675, and for fourth place, 575. And it carries on like that. You get the idea. If you win one of the other Grand Tours, say the Giro d'Italia or the Vuelta a España, you win 850 points. To reflect their stature in the sport, the monuments are heavily weighted too, these being the 5 most prestigious one-day races. So you've got Paris-Roubaix, the Tour of Flanders, Milan-San Remo, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and Il-Lombardia. Win any of these and you bag yourself 600 points, which means, well, in points terms at least, 2 monuments a year is worth more than the overall in the Tour. The World Championships and Olympic road races are right up there as well, with 600 points on offer for both of those races. Now to win either of these races is, well, career defining, and the points on offer reflect that. Other one-day races that are big but not quite as prestigious as the ones we've just mentioned have less points on offer. A great example would be something like Strade Bianche, where the winner receives 400 points. Week-long stage races such as Paris-Nice, Tirreno-Adriatico and the Critérium de Dauphiné are worth 500 points for the winner of the overall GC, meaning that they're worth slightly less than a monument. However, in stage races, there are many other opportunities to score points. So in reality, my statement that 2 monuments are worth more than the Tour de France is, well, complete rubbish. Another interesting detail is that some races arguably punch above their weight when it comes to the amount of points on offer. So a great example of this is the Tour Down Under, where the same number of points are on offer as for Paris-Nice or Tirreno-Adriatico. Now the reason for this is good, and it's because it incentivizes teams and riders to take part in a race that's on the other side of the world, is relatively new and is early season, because there's lots of valuable points up for grabs. And also being UCI, it means that all the UCI teams have to take part. Less well-established races offer winners 300 points, and these include things like the Ride London Surrey Classic, the Tour of California, and Omloop Het Nieuwsblad. As I mentioned, it's not all about GC placing. In stage races, there are loads of UCI points on offer for winning and placing on the individual stages, and these tend to go all the way down to 5th place. The Tour de France offers the biggest bonification, in the words of Sean Kelly, with 120 points on offer for a stage win. Now, that means that if you win 5 stages of the Tour, that's equal in points to a monument, kinda, a feat which Mark Cavendish has achieved. Winning a stage of the Giro or the Vuelta is worth 100 points, while other stage races like Paris-Nice offer less, 60 points for an individual stage win. It doesn't end there though. Points are also on offer for wearing a leader's jersey. These aren't much though, so you get 25 points per day you wear the yellow jersey in the Tour, and you get just 10 points for every day that you wear the ochre jersey in the Tour Down Under. And if you win one of the other classifications, such as the green sprinter's jersey or the mountains classification in the Tour, you get 120 points for the overall. I hope you found this video useful and interesting, and if you have, then please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends, as we think it'd be really cool for a wider audience to understand how the World Tour works and get more people following the sport, not just when the Tour de France is on, but throughout the entire racing season. And the point system is quite detailed, and I've not gone into every single detail for risk of making this quite a long and boring video. But if you've got any questions, then feel free to fire them in the comments section below. In case you were wondering, the point system for the Women's World Tour is fundamentally the same as the men's, although the numbers are different. And here on GCN, we broadcast all the major races live and for free. So if you'd like to watch them, then you can click down here for a link to our page where they're streamed. But until next time, give the video a thumbs up and I'll see you later. Bye.